Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And then remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And of course, we celebrate today. Well, you know, something we don't have the music, but we'll say it anyway. Today is National Navy Day. We need to get all the military music into our soundboard. That's National Navy Day. I wonder what. So does that mean it's the Navy's birthday today, or do we just celebrate the Navy? I think it's the 10th is the Navy's birthday, though. Okay, it's October 27th. So it's all of the military personnel who have served both past and present in the United States Navy, Naval Warfare Service Branch of the United States Armed Forces. Service engages over 340,000 personnel on active duty, more than 71,000 in the Navy Reserve. So we say thank you. And we applaud everybody that is in the Navy, served in the Navy. Yeah, we appreciate our military. What else are we celebrating today? Okay, so I guess we're gonna go with it, Josh, because we've got it on here. Today's also National American Beer Day.
It is what it is.
I'm not a beer guy, and certainly not a Bud Light guy. So, either way, it's I'm not a National American beer. I'm not even sure when the last time I had a beer was. Brewery X, they've got some good seltzers. I like their seltzers, but even that, give me a good red wine. Give me a little Jack Daniels, and of course, my vodka. Although I've started getting into sipping, not this shooting, but sipping tequila. So if I've got a good tequila, I'll go there too. Tequila Comisario. If you haven't tried that one, how do I get on that from American Beer Day? Okay, so maybe it's my ADD that I don't have. But we can still look at it. Let's see, what are the markets doing today? I'm looking at the NASDAQ is up 372 points right now. Wow. What's driving it? Well, we're going to keep on watching. It's certainly not no matter what the Federal Reserve says, it's not data driven because we're not getting any data. I look at the economic calendar, and if you're a professional, every Friday, we send out our weekend update to real estate agents, financial advisors, CPAs. We send it out to a lot of these folks. And, we talk all the time and give them a lot of the data that's going on. But one of the things that we put in there is the economic calendar. And we had to put a big asterisk next to the economic calendar right now because the government's still shut down. And with the government shut down, there's nothing coming out on the calendar. So, you can see the calendar, you can see what's supposed to be coming out, but you really don't get any data because, well, wait a second. Something I didn't think about this one, but I should have. Do you know that the data that we're getting from the Bureau of Labor Statistics right now is about as accurate as the data we get from them at any given time? Yeah, their data always stinks. It's always inaccurate. So no data is about the same as getting bad data. Now, we will get data. Another one, again, we've got to try and figure this one out, is we get the Federal Reserve starts their meeting this week, and we're going to get the Fed interest rate decision, 11 o'clock California time or West Coast time on Wednesday. We're going to have the press conference at 11:30 on Wednesday. The question I'm going to ask, or I want to know, is the Fed's always, and the Chairman Powell's always saying that the market is they're data dependent. So what data are they dependent on right now? Or what data are they making their decisions based on? The only thing we've got is the CPI number that came out on Friday. And I don't know how accurate that one was. We like the data because it showed that inflation wasn't, out of control, and it was better than the forecasts. But how accurate was it? And I don't know the answer because the government shut down. Now, we can look and see the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 265 points right now. The NASDAQ is up 375. The S&P 500 is up 71. And oil, if you remember last week, we were talking about oil at $56 a barrel. Well, right now we're looking at it, and oil's at $61.57 a barrel. Ow! So that's gone up quite a bit. What is it doing to us here in California? $4.59 a gallon right now is the average for the state of California. Now, if you're out there on the highways, and I guess a lot of us are going to be, traffic's going to get pretty bad. And I know that traffic's is always bad, but when you saw yesterday that they had a ground stop at LAX because of the government shutdown, now we're seeing that the unions are starting to put pressure on the Democrats to get the government opened again, the federal employee union. Because do you really, how do you live when you don't get money, when you don't get your paycheck? And that's what's going on right now is they're asking these government workers, go to work and we'll pay you at some point in time. Now, that's probably painful. Ow! Yeah. 305 is the average of a gallon of gasoline nationwide. Like I say, it was 313 a year ago. And I'm looking at the states. There is only, 40 of the 50 states are at 325 a gallon or less. 40 out of 50 states under 325 a gallon. And California, we're sitting here at 459. I think I paid $4.40 over at Costco yesterday. It might have been $4.30 at Costco over the weekend, but I digress. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Got a lot of great stuff for you today. We're going to chat about some year-end money moves. We'll talk about what the housing experts are saying about real estate, protecting your money from scams, all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you need to put in your mortgage calculator to determine what your principal and interest payment will be. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, remember rsrlinks.com/mobile app. We've got one there. We give it to you. And again, the only number that really matters is the checkbook number. How many dollars are coming out of your checkbook to make your mortgage payment? So what did the rates do on Friday? Mixed bag, conventional 30-year fixed down 6.155, jumbo 30-year fixed up 6.531, FHA 30-year fixed up 6.114, VA 30-year fixed down 5.726 in the USDA 30-year fixed, down at 5.999, right under that 6% barrier. If you want our thoughts about the market each and every business day morning, as early as the data allows, we put that out there in the Ron Siegel Radio community. How do you get it? It's free. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. What's happening in the markets right now? Well, we've got the markets are moving, but is it good? Well, I'm going to tell you, we've got the S&P 500 is now up 71 points. So if you're invested in the stock market, you are fairly happy. You look at the 10-year treasury, that's down a basis point, 4.006. Now, is 4% a meaningful number? Not really. There's no real technicals that tell us anything about 4%. So what that really is right now is we're looking at that as being a psychological number. And we were staying below that for several days. Then we got up above it, going to earlier today, we were at 4.03, it looks like. We did hit 4.028 was the high for the day. And again, it's just psychological. Mortgage bonds, those are up 2 basis points. Again, 2 basis points doesn't mean anything, but when that bond goes up, interest rates go down. Not a whole lot of activity right there either, but it is a good time if you're being strategic. And we talk about that as well. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that he thinks they have a very successful framework for the leaders to discuss at their meeting on Thursday. It appears this truce includes the U.S. taking threats of a 100% tariff off the table. 100%. China resuming soybean purchases and delaying their rare earth export controls. The Chicago Fed's labor market indicators shows the unemployment rate is expected to increase from 4.3 to 4.4%. Additionally, the report shows a decline in the hiring rate and a slight increase to the rate of layoffs and other separations. ICE Mortgage Performance released their first look report for the month of September, which showed delinquencies and foreclosures remain well below pre-pandemic levels. Delinquencies fell 2 basis points in September to 3.42%, down 6 basis points from the same time last year, and 58 basis points below the September 2019 pre-pandemic level. Foreclosures in the third quarter of 2025 rose 23% from the same period last year, but remain 18% below 2019 pre-pandemic levels. So yes, it went up, but until you look at the data and really understand what it's telling you, you don't really get any good information from that. Now, we will get some reports tomorrow. We're going to get the FHFA Case-Shiller Home Price Index. It's not a government report, so we will get that one come out. There's going to be a 7-year Treasury note auction on Wednesday. Again, probably not going to see a whole lot, but the most important thing that's going to happen on Wednesday is we might get the crude oil inventory. I'm not sure whether we'll see that or not. Pending home sales, we'll see that. That's not a government number. But we will get the Fed interest rate decision from Chairman Powell and the Fed press conference. And the press conference is usually where most of the fireworks happen, if we're going to get any fireworks, because that's when he starts answering questions from the media, and you never know, you can get whipsawed on that information. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. So we're going to give you I don't know if we're going to call it a workshop. It might be a little longer than our normal Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by gethomeselect.com, gethomeselect.com. Easy for me to say. Must be Monday morning and I've only had 2 cups of coffee. December 31st isn't just about champagne and resolutions. It's also the deadline for financial moves that could save you thousands. But here's the thing, most people focus on the wrong stuff. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. You know what I see every January? People kicking themselves because they missed simple year-end opportunities. Not talking about anything fancy here, just practical moves that make a real difference in your household cash flow. What do I mean by that? Well, it's all about taxes. If your tax person, your CPA or enrolled agent, is not talking to you about taxes right now, they are, like most CPAs and enrolled agents, they are reporters. They tell you what happened. They're not strategists. The strategists are meeting with their people November and December to make sure that they're in position for the best opportunities possible. Let me tell you about a couple I worked with last month that came to me in early December last year, carrying about $45,000 in credit card debt across 5 different cards. Interest rates all over the map, from 18% to 30%. We've told you before the average is 22.84%. They'd been making minimum payments thinking they were doing okay. Here's what most people miss. It's not about the individual rates. It's about the household blended interest rate and how much money is actually leaving your budget each month. So what are the moves you should be thinking about before the calendar flips? First, take an honest look at your budget. I know. Budget sounds boring, especially during the holidays, but think of it as a reality check on where your money's actually going. You'd be surprised how many people are still paying for subscriptions they forgot about or insurance rates that haven't been shopped in years. That couple I mentioned, when we looked at their complete financial picture, we found they were paying way more for homeowners insurance than they needed to. They hadn't reviewed their deductibles in 5 years, and their financial situation had changed significantly. A simple review freed up an extra $80 a month. Want help getting your financial house in order? Get registered. It's free. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. It's a tool that walks you through the essential elements of a solid financial foundation. Helps you see where you stand and where the opportunities are. Second, if you're carrying credit card balances, review those rates. Now, if you're paying off your credit cards every month, the interest rate does not matter much, but if you're carrying balances, those rates are costing you real money. Here's where people get tripped up with balance transfers. Yeah, moving to a lower rate sounds great, but watch those transfer fees, usually 3% to 5%. You've got to do the math. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. But here's something most people don't know. There's a right way and a wrong way to pay your credit cards. The order you pay them, how you allocate your payments, it affects both your interest expense and your FICO score. Check out rsrccpayment.com. rsrccpayment.com. It shows you the correct strategy to pay your credit cards to maximize what you're spending on interest and maximize your credit score, because strategy beats rate always. Want to know what often makes even more sense? That's where strategic debt management comes in. We look at your complete household debt picture, not just the credit cards in isolation. Third, check your retirement contributions. If you've got a 401k or other retirement accounts, especially if your employer matches contributions, you need to make sure you're getting every dollar of that match. That's free money you're leaving on the table otherwise. And if you're 50 or older, there are catch-up contributions available. Even a small bump in contributions now, with years of growth ahead, makes a bigger difference than you might think. Now, what if you want to save more beyond your 401k match? And again, my opinion, not giving financial advice, never, ever put more into your 401k than what they match. Here's where it gets interesting. We can introduce you to financial advisors who specialize in life insurance policies that offer deferred tax benefits and liquidity. It's another tool in the wealth building toolkit that not everyone knows about. Fourth, use up that FSA money. Flexible spending accounts are great. You save money before taxes for medical expenses. The catch? Most don't roll over. Use it or lose it by year's end. Got unused FSA funds? Stock up on prescriptions. Get those new glasses. Schedule that dental work you've been putting off. Don't let that money disappear. Fifth, consider your charitable giving. If you're charitably inclined, year-end is the time to think strategically about it. If you itemize deductions, you can typically deduct up to 60% of your adjusted gross income for charitable contributions. Here's something interesting. You can donate appreciated securities, stocks, or mutual funds instead of cash. You can avoid the capital gains tax on the appreciation, and you still get the charitable deduction. It's a way to be generous while being strategic about taxes. And remember, we are not giving tax advice. Talk to your CPA or enrolled agent. Here's what I want you to understand. These are all good moves, but they're looking at things in pieces. What about looking at your complete financial picture? Back to that couple. With the credit cards, we didn't just shuffle their debt around. We looked at their home equity, their monthly cash flow, their household blended interest rate. Turned out repositioning some equity strategically dropped their monthly debt payments by over $900 while actually improving their financial position. That's $10,800 a year back in their household budget. Remember, strategy beats rate always. See, most lenders just look at whether you're eligible for a loan. They check the boxes. Can they qualify you? Sure. But eligibility isn't the same as suitability. That's what sets us apart. We look at suitability, what actually makes sense for your complete financial situation. So what does this mean for you? Before you make any year-end moves, get a complete picture of your household finances. Look at everything through the lens of safety, liquidity, and return, and understand that your mortgage rate is only one part of the conversation. What really matters is your household blended interest rate and how much money is coming out of your budget every month. That's why we did this segment and share it all the time. Why your 3% mortgage is killing you. Haven't seen it? Well, all you've got to do is go over and visit rsrlinks.com/3PCT. rsrlinks.com/3PCT. We'll walk you through the whole process so you can see why it is that I tell you, and I'm right, that your 3% mortgage might be killing you. And a lot of people just don't understand it. If you're carrying debt, credit cards, car loans, personal loans, and you've got equity in your house, there might be a better way to structure things, but you won't know until you look at the complete picture. Here's my challenge for you before the year ends. Get a clearer view of your complete financial situation, not just pieces of it, all of it. Want to see what your options look like? 3 different solutions for you. You can do the mini app and take a look at it, rsrlinks.com/Sora, rsrlinks.com/Sora. 30-second application. We'll take a look for you. You can do the whole picture, rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And if you want to look at what the debt consolidation means, rsrlinks.com/two-step. rsrlinks.com/two-step. Let's figure out if there's a better way to structure your debt. Remember, strategy beats rate always. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. And that is the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by GetHomeselect.com. GetHomeselect.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, planning to sell in 2026? Start the prep now. Why some homes sell quickly and others don't sell at all? Protecting your money from today's top scams. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And I think I got a bad file in here, Josh. I might be needing, while I wait for this to come up, I think we're looking for a different 23, 27. I know. It's sometimes we get off on a tangent, or I get off on a tangent, and then get the wrong stuff into my files. So now I'm scrambling to find the right report that I wanted to share with you. The reasons homes feel download. That's what I need. Aha, there we are. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. The reason homes feel like they cost so much, it's not what you think. Scroll through your feed and you'll see plenty of finger pointing about why homes cost so much. And according to a national survey, a lot of people believe big investors are to blame, even though data shows that's not true. And we've talked about that before, that really is not the case, but we're going to give it to you again. Even though data shows that's not true, nearly half of Americans surveyed, 48%, think investors are the top reason housing feels so expensive. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 or FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a chart of what Americans believe are the top 3 causes of high housing costs. But that theory doesn't actually hold up once you look at the data. The truth about investors, they do play a role in the housing market, especially in certain areas, but they're not buying up all the homes like so many people on social media say. Nationwide, Realtor.com found only 2.8% of all homes purchases last year were made by big investors, those who own more than 50 properties. That means roughly 97% of homes were bought and sold by regular people, not corporate giants. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, explains. So if it's not investors, why are home prices so high? The real story behind rising prices has less to do with who's buying and more to do with what's missing. Enough homes. Robert Dietz, chief economist at the National Association of Home Builders, says, quote, it's been popular among some to blame investors, but with housing, the economics of that don't make a lot of sense. The fundamental driver of housing costs is the shortage itself. It's driven by the fact that there's a mismatch between the number of households and the actual size of the housing stock, unquote. There simply haven't been enough homes for sale to meet buyer demand, and that shortage, not investor activity, is what's pushed prices higher just about everywhere. It's easy to believe investors cause today's housing challenges, but the truth is the market just needs more homes, and that's finally starting to happen. As more options hit the market, buying may feel a little more realistic. Let's connect and talk about what's happening in your local market. And of course, we've got the information to tell you about your local market. We get that to you free all the time. rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. You can go in there, put your zip code in, and it's going to tell you exactly what's going on in your market. Now, every market is different. I hear certain markets, I hear people saying, well, the prices are starting to moderate. They're not going up like they were, or they're going down. Well, the fact of the matter is that could be the case. But in most markets, we're still seeing prices going up. We're still seeing prices going up. Now, when we talk about prices going up, well, how do you deal with that from an eligibility standpoint? Well, the eligibility standpoint tells us we need to get our interest rate, either have to have the price go down. Here's the three components of eligibility and affordability. You've got to have the property value, price. You've got to have income. Is your income going up or not? And the other one is interest rates. Well, I can't help you with the house price. I can't help you with what's happening with your wages. But what I can help you with, and I tell you this, strategy beats rate always, is I can help you with the interest rate, which is the biggest factor of your payment. Now, when you talk about the biggest factor of your payment, that's very, very simple. We're talking here about interest rates. And I get so many agents. Here's the deal. Agents are negotiators. They're not strategists in most instances. Yeah, they might give you the strategy of here's what the property value is. Here's what we can negotiate. Here's what I've seen happen in the neighborhood. But here's what many, many agents miss because they don't deal with the finances. They've got a financial partner that helps them with that. Is they don't say, okay, instead of taking that $25,000 and asking for a price concession, let's ask for a interest rate concession. That's why builders keep selling houses, because the builders are doing this all day, every day. Now, when the builders do this, they just say they've got it built into their numbers, so they can go out and say, we're going to give you 25, 50, 75,000. I saw one of the big builders was offering a $60,000 concession. Now, what do they do that for? They want to keep the price high for the market. That's good for them. But they know the affordability is the issue. So if you've looked at any of our data that we've put out, and I think we put this in buy down, rsrlinks.com/buy down. I think it's in there where we showed that a concession could get to a 4.99% 30-year fixed rate loan. Now, does that work for everybody? Is it a guarantee? No. It's an example that we use because it did work on the day or the week that we shared that. But your numbers might be different. But that actually allowed the buyers to qualify for like $150,000 more than what they thought they were going to be able to afford. That's a big issue. Now, if you think that that'll help you getting something more in tune with what you want, then you need to go and look at that. It works best prior to you making an offer. Now, what is the other thing that we do? Is we offer you, even if you've already made an offer, go and look for the second look advantage. It's something that we've put out. It's rsrlinks.com/2ndlook. rsrlinks.com/2ndlook. That's our second look advantage program. So that one there is another big issue into helping people figure out what they're doing. rsrlinks.com/2ndlook. So what do we do there? We take whatever you've already been offered. You might have gone to a big bank and got an offer on a new piece on a property, and they gave you a loan estimate. We say, okay, great. Show us that loan estimate, and we'll see if you've got a great deal. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe it doesn't fit within your goals and objectives. Is it fit your dreams and goals? Well, that's what we're looking for right there, is figuring out what those are. Now, most loan officers, most loan companies are not even asking that question. What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? I don't know why they don't ask that question, but they don't ask it. So we look at that and say, if we can't get you a better deal, and we only do this for a limited number of people for a limited time, we're actually going to give you a $100 Amazon gift card just for your trouble. Just throw that out there for you. So it's limited offer, limited time. We're doing it all of October. I don't know if we'll do it again in November, but rsrlinks.com/secondlook, 2ndlook. Go and check it out. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Now, if you are thinking about buying or selling, let's give you away a few things here, and then we'll get a couple more reports for you that I've got lined up. We talked about the buy down. That is a big, big program. And one of the big questions that comes up when we talk about the buy down is we have people say, well, what if the appraisal doesn't come in, Ron? Of course, we've got you covered. rsrlinks.com/appraisal gap. And we usually put that right in the buy down program just because it makes sense. The two-step program, I talked about it a little bit in the last segment, but it's our program to really shore up your financial situation. It's something I look at all the time for people. Use some of your household equity. And I know you've got that 3% loan that's killing you, and you don't believe it's killing you because you don't know. Can't expect you to know something you don't know. It's just the way it works. So you look at the rsrlinks.com/3PCT. But I digress. Two-step. Use some of your equity. Get as much of your debts paid off as you can. Strategically, we want to do it the right way. 6 to 12 months from now, we expect interest rates will be better. We're going to take care of that for you then as well. So we're going to restructure your loan. And anytime we do a loan for you, especially when we're doing a refinance, I don't know if rates are going to go up or go down. What I do know is what's happening today. What the rates are today, if it makes sense for you to act. If it doesn't make sense, and if the rates go down further, we'll give you an option to restructure that loan at no cost. Is it the best way to go? I don't know. We'll talk about it at that point, but we'll give you an option to restructure your loan at no cost at that time. It's just one of the things that we do here at Ron Siegel Radio. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, why some homes sell quickly and others don't, protecting your money from today's scams. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free. Here's a number that should get your attention: $1 trillion. That's how much fraud is expected to cost people worldwide this year. And closer to home, almost 1 in 3 Americans has been scammed, losing an average of $1,600. If you think it can happen to you, you're exactly who the scammers are counting on. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Today, I want to talk to you about protecting the wealth you've worked so hard to build. You know, I've been doing this since 1983, and I've seen a lot of things change in the financial world. But one thing hasn't changed: people trying to separate you from your money. What has changed is how sophisticated these scams have become. Let me share what you're seeing, what I'm seeing out there. Email remains the #1 platform for fraud. I had a client last month who almost clicked on what looked like a legitimate email from her bank. It had the logo, the colors, everything looked right. When we looked closer, the email address was slightly off. One wrong letter, that's all it took to spot the fake. These phishing emails are designed to get you to click a link or open an attachment. Once you do, you're either giving away your personal information or installing software that can steal your data. And here's what concerns me: someone could use that information to open accounts in your name or run your credit without your even knowing. That's why I recommend a tool called KeySteps. It notifies you immediately anytime someone runs your credit. You get an alert right away. So if it's not you, you can stop the fraud before it goes any further. You can check it out at rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps. The other fixes are simple. Never click links and emails from people you don't know. And even if you do know them, double check that email address first. Strengthen your email accounts with strong passwords and enable two-factor authentication. Here's another one that's targeting seniors, especially fake check scams. Someone sends you a check, asks you to deposit it, then wants you to send some of the money back. Maybe they say they overpaid you or it's part of a prize you won. The check looks real. Your bank even makes the funds available. But here's what they don't tell you: it takes days for the bank to discover that check is counterfeit. By then, you've already sent your real money to a scammer, and now you're fully responsible for the full amount of the fake check. The rule here is easy to remember: there is no free money. If someone sends you an unexpected check and asks for money back, it is always a scam. Now let's talk about imposter scams. This is where someone pretends to be the IRS, your bank, or another trusted organization. They'll call demanding immediate payment, often with threats of legal action. I want to be clear about something. Legitimate agencies will never ask you to pay by buying gift cards, picking up cash from your porch, or purchasing Bitcoin. Never. Or Bitcoin. Never. If you get one of these calls, hang up. Then call the organization directly using a number you find yourself, not one they give you. Here's a new twist that really bothers me: AI voice cloning. Scammers can now replicate voices with scary accuracy. They might call pretending to be your grandchild in trouble or a family member who needs money urgently. The technology is that good. So what do? If you get an urgent call asking for money or personal information, verify it yourself. Call back on a number you know or reach out through a different method. Don't let urgency override your common sense. I'm also seeing fake job scams hit people hard. These promise high salaries with minimal qualifications, then ask for your social security number, bank information, or upfront fees for training or equipment. No legitimate employer will ask you to pay a fee to get a job. And online shopping, it's convenient, but it comes with risks. Fraudulent sellers offer unbelievably low prices you pay, and the product never arrives. Always research sellers, read reviews carefully, and use secure payment methods like credit cards that offer buyer protection. Here's something that connects to the work I do. Protecting your financial information. It's just like protecting your financial legacy. You evaluate everything through safety, liquidity, and return. The same thing applies here. Is the email safe? Is my information liquid, meaning easily accessible to thieves? What's the return if I'm wrong? In the case of scams, the return is always negative. Remember, scammers rely on catching you off guard or using intimidation tactics. They want you to make a quick decision that could wreck your finances, but you've got something they can't overcome. Common sense. Here are your action steps. First, be careful of unexpected phone calls, emails, or texts asking for personal information. Second, never click on links in emails or texts, even if they look familiar. Hover over the link to see where it really goes. Third, get yourself set up with credit monitoring that alerts you immediately when someone runs your credit. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And fourth, before making purchases online or giving information to a new company, research their reputation. This includes when you're buying on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I've seen it many times where people get scammed on those services. Look, building wealth through strategic debt management is about making smart decisions with your money. But all of that work means nothing if you hand your information over to a scammer. Protecting yourself from fraud is part of protecting your financial future. If you want to make sure your financial house is in order and get that immediate credit monitoring protection, I mentioned it before. Visit rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And remember, strategy beats trade always, and that includes the strategy for staying safe. This is Ron Siegel reminding you to stay alert, stay smart, keep building wealth, and I am your Certified Liability Advisor, helping your family build wealth through strategic debt management. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.